Study Session 5, Human Growth and Development. Introduction. In this study session, we will examine and discuss what growth, maturation, and development mean. Also, we will discuss the general principles of human development. Learning outcomes. When we have studied this session, you should be able to 1. Examine the concept of growth, 2. Define the nature of maturation in human development, and 3. Discuss at least 4 principles of development. Growth. Growth is not maturation or development. It simply refers to physical development or increase in number of body cells. Iyola 1990. It refers to being tall, wide, or an increase in size or weight, and so on. Maturation. All human beings at birth appear physically complete. However, not all organs of the body are ready for use at this stage. For example, female breasts not mature enough for lactation at that stage. Therefore, maturation can be defined as the process of coming to full development or to a state of being ready for use. According to Byrne or Russell 1998, maturation refers to the biological unfolding of the body as a result of a genetic blueprint transmitted by parents at conception, and its effects are obvious at many points throughout the lifespan. For example, toilet training among children is possible when their sphincter muscles are mature. Development. Development is defined as systematic qualitative and quantitative changes that occur in an individual's biological, social, and emotional capacity over the lifespan. Bonner and Russell, 1994. It refers to the progressive changes observed in the organism. It is more encompassing term than growth because it includes other features as differentiation, integration, maturation, and so on. Development, especially in childhood, has basic characteristics, namely, it is orderly, continual, and cumulative. In other words, developmental changes occur in a logical sequence. They happen all the time and change as each age builds up on what came before. General principles of development. By principle, we simply mean a statement or rule by which certain events under normal circumstances will have to occur. Therefore, the principle of development are those statements or rules governing the development of human beings. Mojonyola 2002. According to Iyola 1990, the general principles that follow are associated with the development of human beings. 1. Cephalopodia principle of development. The principle states that the head region of any organism, that is, including the human being, develop faster than any other part of the body. This means that the head region takes primacy over the tail end. For example, at birth, the head of a child is about 20% of the entire body, or 1/5 body weight. Cephalo means head, while caudal means tail. Based on these two Greek words, we can say the development of human beings begin from the head to the tail. 2. Proxidimostal principle of development. According to this principle, development starts from the central region and moves towards the outside region. This means that the central region takes primacy over the peripheral ends. For example, internal organs in the body, for instance, heart, kidney, etc., develop faster than the external organs, e.g. hair, nails, etc. 3. The principle of asynchronous growth. The principle states that every organ in human body develops in its own and at different rates. For example, the heart develops and functions within the first 18 days, while it could take the lungs up to 8 months of gestation before it can be properly developed and functional. 4. The principle of individuation. The principle states that the developmental pattern of an individual is different from the other. Even among the monozygotic, that is, identical twin. Thus, every individual is an entity on his or her own. The principle of continuity and discontinuity. The principle states that the development of human organs or systems can be observed as developing rapidly at one time, that is, rapid growth at adolescence, and slowly or becomes discontinued shortly after the period. For example, commencement of menstruation and its concession menopause. The principle of complexity. This states that the development of a particular organ is complex. That is, it has several connections with other parts of the body. For example, the master gland produces other hormones affecting the reproductive organs. The principle of uniqueness. The principle states that an individual maintains its organismic whole. That is, it maintains its special nature or resembles its originator. The principle of adaptation or modifiability. This states that both growth and behavior are adaptive, subject to modification by the environment or whatever happens. Thus, human behavior can be changed. Principle of optimum time. The principle holds that there is a set time for certain characteristics to manifest or occur. That is, at a particular time of development, certain characteristics must manifest. For example, a child starts working at age 2 or so. Principle of extinction. The principle states that development leads to death. That is, under normal circumstances, if there is no sickness or illness, death will occur after some specific period of development. It emphasizes the fact that whatever has a beginning also has an end. All these principles have useful implications for social work practice. That is, they can be applied for successful and effective social work practice. Their applicability will now be briefly examined. The principle of psychocordial points to the importance of the head region of an organism as the seat of the brain. It is the most important part of the body, and any damage to it may affect the body systems. As the head region is very crucial to the body, the basic rudimentary facts, that is, generic knowledge or skill in social work is necessary to lay a solid foundation for social work practice. The principle of proximodistal, which stresses that development starts from the central region outward, is helpful in that it gives cue to the method and procedure necessary for acquiring knowledge in social work. It can be applied to help social workers in training by telling them to acquire theoretical and core knowledge first before exposing themselves to field practice. Both the principle of individuation and uniqueness are also applicable in social work. They can be applied by case workers and community workers to help individual person overcome his problem or helping each community achieve its goals. In other words, it helps the case worker to help each individual as an entity or as a unique being. When applied the principle of continuity and discontinuity, we will help the social worker to understand where and when to start a case and terminate it. That is, where to help a client, a patient, or an individual, and when to stop rendering assistance to him or her. The principle of adaptation and modifiability can be successfully applied to change the behavior of an individual or modify undesirable ones. For instance, a social worker can base his or her intervention with a phobic patient that is afraid of his environment by helping to change the patient's environment or modifying the environment to be less fearful to him or her. Study session summary. In this study session, we examined three concepts, namely growth, maturation, and development. We defined growth as physical development or increase in the number of body cells. Maturation was defined as the process of coming to full development or to a state of being ready for use. And development was also defined as progressive changes occurring in an individual, which is orderly, continually, and cumulative. 10 principles of development were examined in this study session, among which were cephalocodial principles, proximodistal principle, principles of individuation, uniqueness, adaptation, asynchronous growth, and so on. That ends study session 5. Thanks for listening.